ìjà parí ogun ti ṣẹ́ orin aleluya la ó máa kọ aleluya. ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ mi mi ìfi bẹ́ẹ̀ gùn nínú orin mi náà gbìyànjú ni mo kí yín àkú dédé àsìkò yìí ẹ̀yin ọmọ aládé odò àgbèwá kò ní gbé ọ̀dàlẹ̀ lágbára Elédùmarè. ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi ogun ti ṣẹ́ ìjà parí tí mo sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan tí mo fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ mi òun ló dá lórí àwọn bàbá wa méjì tí wọ́n fi orí gbárí àwọn erin méjì tí wọ́n forí gbárí lẹ́nu bíi ọjọ́ bíi mélòó kan díẹ̀ sẹ́yìn ìyẹn bàbá wa Délé Fárótìmí àti bàbá wa Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá. Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọba Ọ̀ọ̀ni of Ifẹ̀ Ọ̀jájá adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn kábíyèsí o, kí adé ó pẹ́ lórí, kí àṣẹ ó pẹ́ lẹ́nu, kí ìrùkẹ̀rẹ̀ ó pẹ́ lọ́wọ́, kí bàtà ó pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ o. A kí yín adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín o fún iṣẹ́ takuntakun eléyìí tí ẹ ṣe, fún ìrẹ́pọ̀ eléyìí tí ẹ mú wá sí àárín àwọn àgbà méjì ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí tẹ́ ẹ̀ jẹ́ kí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ó dàrú. Bàbá adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín, a sì tún ń bẹ̀ yín àbí ká sọ pé a sì tún mọ̀ pé ẹ tún máa ṣe jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ fún wa ní pàtàkì àwọn táwọn bẹ̀bẹ̀ fún Yorùbá nation yìí. A mọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin náà tún máa bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ṣe yìí tó yanjú ẹ tún máa ràn wá lọ́wọ́ náà. Ẹ ṣeun adúpẹ́ bàbá wa. Ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi, màá fẹ́ kẹ́ jẹ́ ká jọ wo fídíò yìí kẹ́ gbọ́ nǹkan tí bàbá wa Ọ̀ọ̀ni of Ifẹ̀ tí wọ́n sọ nínú fídíò tí mo fẹ́ fún yín yìí. Kẹ́dẹ̀ wo bí gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ṣe lọ. Lẹ́yìn yẹn wọ́n wá ṣe interview kan fún Senior Advocate of Nigeria lórí Arise TV. Wọ́n béèrè àwọn ìbéèrè kan lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ lórí ìjà tó parí yìí ni o àti bàbá Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá gangan fún ara wọn pẹ̀lú gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n dán lára ní ìlú Èkìtì àti eléyìí tí àwọn ará ìlú Èkìtì tí wọ́n ń ṣe fún un. Ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi, nígbà tí mo gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ wọ̀nyí ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ rèé tí mo kọ́kọ́ máa gbọ́, mo wá wo ní pé èmi lè kọ́kọ́ mo máa gbọ́ eléyìí lọ́rọ̀ tí Senior Advocate yìí sọ nípa bàbá wa Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá. Ẹ já kọ́kọ́ wo bí ìrìn àjò yẹn ṣe lọ pẹ̀lú àwọn nǹkan tí bàbá wa Ọ̀ọ̀ni of Ifẹ̀ sọ. Lẹ́yìn náà la máa mú fídíò yìí wá. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, ẹ farabalẹ̀ dáadáa, ẹ bá mi wo fídíò láti ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ dópin kẹ́ jẹ́ ká jọ kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ká dẹ̀ tún dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Elédùmarè ká tún máa retí wípé Ọlọ́run á tún gbọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá yìí tún ṣe ohun tó dára fún wa ní pàtàkì àwa tá à ń lépa Yorùbá nation. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Ẹ wo fídíò.
Ìpàdé wa lè ní oṣù èso rere gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìpìlẹ̀ táwọn baba ńlá wa tó fi tò ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire. A fi ìlànà àwa ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire, ìlànà tó ń jẹ́ ọmọlúàbí, ìlànà nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ Yorùbá, òun ni a fi pẹ̀tù sí bàbá nú nítorí pé àgbà máa ń gbà ni, torí pé àgbà máa ń gbà náà la ṣe gbà á lọ́wọ́ bàbá. A dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé àwọn aláṣekú wá dúró tì wá, a dẹ̀ rí ṣe, a pẹ̀tù sí bàbá nú. Orúkọ rere ó sàn ju wúrà àti fàdákà lọ. Bàbá onínúure, bàbá dáadáa ẹ ti fi lọ́lẹ̀ pé jà fún orúkọ ẹ, ẹ̀kọ́ púpọ̀ ni a kọ́, jà fún orúkọ ẹ. Orúkọ rere òun ló máa ń gbé èèyàn débi gíga láyé. Bàbá yìí jà fún orúkọ ẹ kí orúkọ wọn kó má bàjẹ́. A dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé kò bàjẹ́, wọ́n tún gba iyì lọ nídìí ẹ̀ náà ni. Nígbà tó ń jà fún orúkọ wọn tán, iyì náà ló bá dé, iyì náà ló dẹ̀ máa jẹ́ tiwọn lọ torí wọ́n gbọ́rọ̀ sí àwa orí adé lẹ́nu àti àwọn àgbààgbà ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire. Ó wá kù sí ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá lóun tó fẹ́ ta ìpá sí àgbàlagbà nítorí ojú ẹ̀ bá wá rí, torí ọmọ ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire tágbà tó bá ti gba nǹkan lọ́wọ́ àgbà, tágbà bá ti gbà báyìí kò yá fi ewé agbéjẹ́ kò já sọ́wọ́. Ewé agbéjẹ́ ni mo máa rọ gbogbo àwọn tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn, mo fẹ́ rọ gbogbo àwọn tó rọ mọ́ tó so mọ́ ètò ìkànjá ewé agbéjẹ́. Àgbà ti gbà, a dẹ̀ ti fi ìlànà ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀ oòjíire gbàǹtọ́ àgbà. Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè ń jà irú ẹ̀ mọ́.
Where
coming together as a race to take this thing from you. Your name is more than silver and gold. That is what you have lived for in your life. But truth be told, the whole world have seen that you don't joke with your name. It's a lesson to all of us. That hold on to your name. Whatever they call you, stand upright, stand firm, and defend who you are for posterity's sake. Baba, you have told the world, and the world have heard you clearly, that you don't joke with your name, Baba. We can see you have fought every battle to sustain that name you have built. For many decades, we have been deliberating on this thing for hours. It's close to midnight. Your name, the stain on it is non-negotiable. Nobody can rubbish your name.
He attacked many judges by name. He attacked Supreme Court judges in unrepeatable, on what you cannot print. But none is bothered. But I'm bothered. I'm bothered because of where and how I started life. The request is simple. Take away this case, which is a criminal one, in court. When Obasanjo wrote and came here, I said no. When Kuka phoned and came, I said no. I have the letters here. But on this occasion, I say yes.
Always look at conflict resolution, and the traditional institution plays a very vital and pivotal role in anything we do. It's part of our system, it's part of our culture, it's part of who we are. We use traditional means to resolve this matter. Beyond courts, beyond litigation, traditional means is critical, is more important, and that's what we've applied. We applied it and it worked.
Following an appeal by the Oòni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, and other monarchs, Chief Afe Babalola has agreed to instruct his lawyers to withdraw all defamation suits against Dele Farotimi. Some lawyers in the case who spoke off record to Channels TV confirmed these reports, but however say this is Chief Afe Babalola's personal decision. Some of the lawyers who had their names also mentioned in Farotimi's book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, maintained they are likely to continue their own cases in court, especially as they were equally defamed. The lawyers are looking to meet later today to deliberate, harmonize, and issue a joint statement on how they will proceed.
ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ mi kò tí ì tán síbẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ lákòókò tí mo sọ ṣáájú ẹjá tó gbọ́ nǹkan tí Senior Advocate of Nigeria tí wọ́n sọ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá wa Afe Babalọlá ní ìlú Èkìtì kẹjẹ́ kájọ tún kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi ẹ tún wo fídíò yìí síwájú sí.
Chief Afe Babalola is a Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He's an elder statesman. He's 95 years old or thereabout, and he has, let me use the word, capitulated to traditional rulers after rejecting all other pleas. What's the difference for you? What's the significance of that?
Well, I think for me it is important to focus on this gesture by the elder statesman beyond every other thing. The elder statesman, who I consider to be an individual, institutional figure, has impressed me by what he has done more than ever before. This is not, when the crisis broke out and a lot of people were taking sides for and against, I came out with a public statement where I sued for peace on both sides as the way out. So what has played out yesterday is, for me, a personal vindication of what I've all along been preaching. And without taking sides, without blaming anyone, I think the focus on this gesture is remarkable. It shows that our Chief Babalola SAN, elder statesman, has shown remarkable example that you must not forget your roots. You must always defer in appropriate cases to our traditional institutions. You know what Oòni, who led that delegation, symbolized for the Yoruba race? That's the source of the Yoruba race. I mean, Odua. So when the Oòni comes out to plead a cause and leading some other prominent, equally formidable traditional rulers, it is like invoking the spirits of the Yoruba ancestors. It is like saying, as a race to which you belong, this is our stand. We do not want this. We do not want further overheating of the polity. We do not want anything that can, divide the Yoruba race. And so we are asking you, in the interest of the... Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I don't know where to begin this conversation. On the one hand, Chief Aria Babalola is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's an elder statesman. He's 95 years old or thereabout, and he has, let me use the word, capitulated to traditional rulers after rejecting all other pleas. What's the difference for you? What's the significance of that?
Well, I think for me it is important to focus on this gesture by the elder statesman beyond every other thing. The elder statesman, who I consider to be an individual, institutional figure, has impressed me by what he has done more than ever before. This is not, when the crisis broke out and a lot of people were taking sides for and against, I came out with a public statement where I sued for peace on both sides as the way out. So what has played out yesterday is, for me, a personal vindication of what I've all along been preaching. And without taking sides, without blaming anyone, I think the focus on this gesture is remarkable. It shows that our Chief Babalola SAN, elder statesman, has shown remarkable example that you must not forget your roots. You must always defer in appropriate cases to our traditional institutions. You know what Oòni, who led that delegation, symbolized for the Yoruba race? That's the source of the Yoruba race. I mean, Odua. So when the Oòni comes out to plead a cause and leading some other prominent, equally formidable traditional rulers, it is like invoking the spirits of the Yoruba ancestors. It is like saying, as a race to which you belong, this is our stand. We do not want this. We do not want further overheating of the polity. We do not want anything that can, divide the Yoruba race. And so we are asking you, in the interest of the race, to drop all charges. The fact that that delegation came out powerfully to make that request is significant. And the fact that Chief Babalola also rose to meet their demands is also significant. I would have been very disappointed if the request of such elements who represent the formidable Yoruba race is rejected. I'm happy that he accepted the gesture. And that's the focus this morning. Are Afe Babalola, I must say, is not, like I said before, he's an individual institutional figure. Perhaps the only Nigerian where you see that a whole Ekiti race, Ekiti nation, wants to declare a day in Ado Ekiti, a day to honor him yearly. That's what a day has been specifically dedicated to always honor Afe Babalola. Again, look at his impact.
What's that name? What's that day called?
Afe Babalola Day, where elements across Ekiti, particularly in Ado Ekiti, decide to say we are not doing any business. That day is specifically set aside in honor of the man. People will troop out to honor him. No, but I don't think any figure has enjoyed that kind of adulation while alive. Again, you want to see the contribution of Chief Afe Babalola to our education. Look at Afe Babalola University impacting on several Nigerians. Again, this is the only Nigerian that has produced several senior advocates, including 2 Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Federation. Chief Akeolujimi was a product of Afe Babalola. And the sitting Attorney General, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, also a product of, so, and then you see, and the man is still strong and healthy as we speak. So what I'm saying is that God has really blessed this man. And so, like he said, he has nothing else to prove. So now that he has come out to say, oh, I'm dropping these charges, I don't want to proceed against the young man again. In difference to our traditional institutions, in difference to the race, I think it's something salutary, and it's something that has raised the bar in terms of the leadership by example.
Okay.
And I think we should all salute him.
Just a quick one. Excuse me. Now, before we go into the nitty-gritty of the issues, the implications and all, you spoke about the fact that Chief Afe Babalola is an elder statesman, so he's an elderly person, and he respects Yoruba institutions and all. If the table had been turned, if the coin had been flipped, do you think the elder gentleman would have exhibited the same respect for the traditional institution?
Well, like I said,
I'm talking about younger Nigerians, because they do not have the understanding that Afe Babalola. Do you think younger Nigerians have that regard?
I prefer, and I think what that tells you is that I expect younger Nigerians who are with proper upbringing who told this example. Because part of the problem of the decay in our society is declining values. Core values lies at the heart of the Omaluabi culture of the average African. I don't want to even talk of Yorubaris. Omaluabi culture is respect for others, respect for institutions, respect for core values.
So what you're exemplifying here is about values.
Yes, when you have proper upbringing, if you are properly trained to respect institutions, to respect leadership, to respect constituted authority, you will behave the way Afe Babalola has behaved.
But there are some times when quote-unquote elders have behaved in ways that are not respectable.
When those elders exhibit traits that are not respectable, all of us will rise up to condemn. We should not follow such elders. You understand what I'm saying? We are not saying, and that's why I say we should focus on the gesture. We are not looking at the merits or demerits of the case.
No, not yet.
We are not. And we are not saying, it's not about right or wrong. It's about rising up to preserve our culture, rising up to preserve our tradition, rising up to respect traditional institutions, rising up to respect the demands of the race. Mind you, and that's the point I was making when this crisis broke out, Nigerians have been factionalized. People have taken sides in this race. In some way, all the elements involved, the two sides involved, the stature of Afe Babalola is larger. It's overwhelming. The other party too is involved is not somebody that you can call a pushover. He has his own constituencies too. So there are elements too of who have taken sides on both sides. So and we think, and we want to examine the implication of that on the polity. The implication of that on the unity and cohesion of our country. And the implication of that on governance. You have to take a holistic picture of it. And then say, oh, there comes a time when you say, oh, let us shoot this sword. In the interest of nation building, in the interest of cohesiveness and unity of our country. It is not about right or wrong. It is about ensuring the political stability of the country, the economic stability of the country, and then ensuring that we do not unnecessarily overheat the policy. We should allow governance to take the center stage. My view is that this is the time Nigerians across boards should close ranks around the president.
But then there are the merits or demerits, the significance, the weight of the allegations also shouldn't be remonstrated, particularly in the interest of governance. You and I know, Dr. Shitu, that over the years, people who represent institutions, who represent authority, have all of that trust have been eroded over the years because the trust quotient has dropped significantly between the government and the governed. So anyone who represents authority, who represents influence, even including someone like, Ariafe Babalola, even though he has had to reject, government appointments quite a number of times, it is only understandable when people say, look, you are all the same anyway. So the case of defamation that's at play here, we need to look at it because people are wont to believe what is false, even what is salacious, even if it is false.
Well, like I've said before, I don't want to go into the merits or demerits of the case. But what has played out, if you look at it holistically, poses a lot of danger to our institutional framework, particularly the image of the judiciary as a whole. And when we are talking of the judiciary as an institution, all of us here who are members of this generation, I'm coming.
We'll come back to judiciary, sir. Yes. We'll come back to judiciary. Yes. I'm talking about the governance element that you mentioned. Yes. It is natural for people to take the side of anything salacious, even if it is untrue, as far as it has to do with governance. Cases of corruption, cases of, so people, they have cutted away so much money from Nigerians. Even if it is not true, without following up, people tend to go with it. But the fellow whichever person at any time raised that flag, made that claim, would have gone to press, would have made all of those comments. And most of the time, the lie has gone so far, it's difficult for the truth to catch up.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, you also have to appreciate the standpoint of Chief Ariafe Babalola. He is the major complainant. He's the one who is asserting that my reputation has been impugned. He's the one who has complained to the authorities. And it's the one who has been put on the spot by a lot of appeals and elements, For instance, a former respected head of state, and president of the country, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, came out to appeal to him, dropped the case. He shunned it, the plea. Peter Obi also went to him and had a close door meeting. He shunned the plea. Reverend Father Kuka went to him. He shunned the plea. Now this time around, traditional rulers led by the Oòni of Ife, a formidable, also went to him. You still want him to continue to...
No.
I'm saying, that's difficult. If you want those issues that you have mentioned raised, you have to wait for another day. Wait for another opportunity.
But how do we correct the institutions in such a way that the trust can be built? That's the question.
Okay.
Because trust is lacking. People generally follow anything that is salacious, even if it's not true.
People follow anything that is salacious. Majority of them probably do not have legal training. Now, if you have legal training, then you won't rely on beer parlor gossips. You won't rely on, rumblings from the marketplace. The training of the lawyer emphasizes 3 cardinal points: the facts, the evidence, and the element of proof. That's where we're trained. If as a lawyer I want to make any allegation against anyone, I must be sure of my facts, I must be sure of my evidence, I must be sure of the proof. You understand me? But that is for adjudication. We have taken the issue, This is to the realm of alternative dispute resolution. You know, if, for instance, you had called me when not on the basis of what has happened yesterday, I won't comment. Because I respect the judiciary institution. A matter that is called is sub judice.
Okay.
But we are focusing on this gesture of RF.
I get
in
that.
spite of everything.
I get
yes,
that.
Yes.
You talked about him as an individual institution.
Yes.
It's understandable.
Yes.
And there aren't many left. But it's the exemplary nature of the case.
Yes. Now what you are saying. Now let me make this point. There's a distinction between allegations, no matter how salacious in your ways, and the element of proof, which arises after a trial process and at the end of the adjudication. We have not gotten to that stage yet. The man said, oh, he has made a complaint. And he said, I'm withdrawing my complaint. So what is your own bill? How can you be more royal than the king?
Well, this is Are Afebalola. There are some other people against whom such allegations may have been made over time.
Yes.
And who do not have the pedigree of Are Afebalola, and who will not have the privilege of the Oòni intervening on their behalf. But some of them will go to jail on the basis of false accusation.
Yes.
And you talked about the training of the lawyer.
Yes.
So let's take it down to the sphere of the judiciary.
Yes.
You talked about the training of the lawyer.
Yes.
And, you know, the fact that before you make certain claims, you need to have certain basis for them. The person who made this allegation is expectedly a trained lawyer.
Yes.
So it is only natural that people will take whatever he says serious. If we have to go by the words that you're speaking, that this, based on the training of the lawyer, you don't make certain claims without certain assurances.
Well, I don't want to focus on the person who make the allegation at this stage. But now that you have drawn me out, I want me to focus on him. I see him as somebody who's courageous, who's bold, and who comes out with some measure of conviction. You know, I've listened to him a number of times. You know, it does not mean that given the same situation, I will behave the way he has behaved in this matter. And I have no competence to fault his style. He is Daily Pharaoh TV. I'm Wahab Shitu. We are two different individuals. But he has written a book. You understand me? Detailing what he felt was wrong in his own estimation. You know, but you see, the question you want to ask, as of today, in spite of that book, has the image, reputation, and eminence of Are Afebalola diminished? No, diminished. Because you know, the thought of defamation arises when you say, oh, somebody has maligned me to such an extent that people now shun me, they now avoid me, and all that. After this book came out, Are Afebalola, a day was declared by the Ekiti Nation to honor Are Afebalola. After this book came out, people were still attending Afebalola's university. I don't know whether some of your children are still there. A number of my friends have their children in there. After this case, in spite of this case, powerful, respectable individuals are still patronizing this man, and you saw what happened with players. So where is he? Where is the stain on his reputation? No, in my view, no. No. If I see, let me tell you, I have a personal experience that I want to share with Chief Afebalola. I've related with him professionally. Two recent examples. One, there was a time I had to consult him in respect of a matter, and I was in his office. We walk up till 12 a.m. Read my 12 midnight. And he ordered that we should be checking to our respective hotels. By 7 o'clock, the man was already on his seat. So what kind of woman being is this? So Afebalola is hardworking, fiercely intelligent. And let me tell you, one of the people that late Chief Garifa respected a lot, was Chief Afebalola. That's the first example. And recently in a case involving my chambers and his chambers, when I saw that he was involved, and his chambers was involved, I wrote him a very polite letter. And on the strength of the letter I wrote to him, I can't match Afebalola in any courtroom door. He agreed to settle the matter with me out of court, which brought some small income to me and enlarged my respect for him. You understand me? So what I'm saying is that I'm focusing on this gesture. And for me, For me,
I get-
the reputation
I get
of
your-
Are Fafa is not in any way
I
important.
get your focus on his
Yes.
on his reputation,
Yes.
and it should also go for every Nigerian
Yes.
who deserves
Yes.
to have and hold his reputation.
Yes.
But I'm looking at the issue
Yes.
and the implications going forward.
Okay, you see, I read the book. I don't want to say the facts we did it for to rely on, but I think it's dangerous for any lawyer, not just for me, any lawyer at all, to seek to denigrate our Supreme Court. Look, confidence lies at the heart of the adjudication. No, the Supreme Court will survive me. Who will be available for generations yet unborn. You don't denigrate such institutions. You understand me? In a published book or anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? Because that institution symbolizes integrity, and then so you should shift individuals away from institution. That's the only way I want. The comment I want, and I want to leave it at that. For me, I will never denigrate the Supreme Court. I will never denigrate our court system, because the alternative to that is anarchy. I will not do that. Because as a lawyer, I'm supposed to exhibit learning and character. I'm supposed to show integrity and respect for our institutions. So the only way, and I think I want to invite the young man, for him I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for Dele Faruti. I was, before this incident occurred, I was looking for opportunity to reach him. Because of his advocacy, because of his fiery nature, because of his boldness, because of his courage. But I think he has done a disservice to the Supreme Court. And he should tender an unreserved apology to the Supreme Court. To the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court and the judiciary institution is bigger than all of us. We must sustain the integrity of that institution. You understand me? If individuals misbehave in that institution, we should separate individuals from the institution. But the attempt to label the Supreme Court as this or that is unethical, is uncomplimentary, and it's a disservice to not only this generation, but future generation. That does not mean that we cannot criticize if we have grounds for proceeding. But we should not pull down the whole edifice because we want to kill some rats.
Okay. Kayla also has some questions for you, Dr. Shito. Go ahead, Kayla.
I mean, I've been listening to everything that you've been saying, Dr. Shitu, and I mean, listening to Arafa Babalola yesterday, a lot of things came to my mind. I mean, it's a 95-year-old man, and at that age, what comes to your mind at that age is all about legacy. So anything that tarnishes that legacy, you would do everything to fight. And that I think came from a place of defense, you know, from this man who we're talking about this morning. But I want to be able to talk to you a little bit more about the concept of defamation in itself. When Dele Faruti wrote that book, when we all read that part in the book, we all twisted our heads sideways. Oh, can you prove this? You know, is this something that you can actually prove against a man of this stature? I want you to speak to the concept of defamation, because that line between defamation and speaking truth to power is one that many people don't really navigate properly. As a senior advocate of Nigeria, when you see something wrong, or as an individual, as a journalist, or as a lawyer, an activist in this case, if you see something that rubs you the wrong way and you feel the need to speak up on it, how do you suggest that one does that without committing defamation? Just on a general scale, not saying that that's what happened to Dele Faruti, but just on a general scale.
Anyway, thank you. I think the first advice I would give to anyone who sees something wrong is to be sure of the foundation of his facts. You must assemble your facts. You must be sure-footed about your facts. You must have evidence to support your facts. And there's a distinction between facts and evidence. And then you must have a way of, you must ensure that there is proof for what you have said. You see, defamation is an injury to reputation. When you remove reputation from any individual, what you have is just an empty shell. That person is no longer a human being. That person is worse than an animal, because reputation is what sustains you as a human being. That is why defamation is an injury to reputation. And you have options if you are defamed. If you feel you are defamed, there's a distinction between defamation, for instance, and vulgar abuse. vulgar, or you abuse somebody. Just vulgar. Vulgar. It's not interpreted as defamation. Before defamation can arise, you must show that you have published something that is injurious to my reputation, is attributed to you, and then you have published it, and reasonable members of the society, on account of what you have published or what you have written or said, now sees the person against whom that publication was made in a negative light and decide to shun him. For instance, if you allege that somebody is a robber or somebody is a thief, and people now begin to avoid the person on account of what you have said, and you can show elements who can come forward to say that, oh, I read the publication, and because of the publication, I started to look at this individual in a different light. You know, that is generally in the realm of reputation. Every decent human being whose reputation has been maligned or defamed has a duty to defend that reputation. That is why you cannot blame Ariafe Babalola, who felt defamed, for taking the action that he took. Although some other people might say the approach, might fault the approach. He could sue for libel in a civil court and claim damages. You could also report it to the authorities and treat it as a criminal defamation. The option which has nobody can fault an aggrieved person about the choices he decides to make when he feels aggrieved. And this is not saying that the gentleman who has raised these allegations should be condemned. No, that's not what I'm suggesting here. I was saying when this thing broke out that I'm looking forward to what evidence he has before he could make that kind of allegation. But it seems that we have to wait for another occasion, because Chief Babalola may have aborted this process, not because he wanted to, but because of the volume of,